What is up, everybody? This is Verdict, and thank you so much for watching. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different thing that I never initially planned on doing, but in general, I was looking for better ways to kind of incorporate 1 hour grinding videos into the channel without really just doing some opening remarks and then let the hour on its own really just continue. And with today's video, I hope that by me accompanying you through the entirety of the hour, we can kind of build a connection and you guys can perhaps play this into the backgrounds or grinding yourself, or, you know, fit whatever purpose you guys deem worth. And in general, I'll be taking you to Thornwood Forest with an overgeared Awakening Mystic. The idea of this is to see how much we can break the spot. Currently on Garmoth.com, the spot's average hour is about 12k, 12.5k. My previous practice hour, I managed to get to 16k and a little bit over 16k. And my idea here would be if I could go to 1750, so sorry, 17,500, 17,800, something like that, as close as possible to 1800, then we could really say the Awakening Mystic here is broken. So this is what I'm going to run as crystals. I'm using 2 giants because Awakening Mystic is very unprotected. She does not have the 24/7, I would say, protection. So in general, you would see these giants kind of speed you up more than the uncapped double times 5 red powers crystals. So essentially I'm sacrificing 10 AP for a little bit more resistances. Overall, I don't think it's going to be that much different, but we'll see as it goes. I'm using the wild artifact preset. These guys are Camosil, but still it's an uncapped, so the wild will do better. And this is pretty much everything in terms of small things. Let's make sure that everything is set up and ready. We have this, we have that. I'm also going to pop a small spring herbal decoction? Decoction? Is that how you say it? I had no idea. And I will be attempting here to almost break the spot as much as possible. So let's pop this bad boy. We have the need of a horse buff, actually. And pop up the horsey, pop up the auto-use, get the 50%, get this thing out here, and we should be up and running quite well. So make sure to pop your, I would say, steroid immediately. The idea of this hour, as I said earlier, is really to kind of have zero respect for anything that is pet-like. So what I mean by this is, perhaps I'm trying to say that I will not be spending any time looting anything. I do not wish to waste my time with my pets. Essentially, usually you would kind of, this is the long question. This question has exists for such a long time. Well, the question is it worth to sit back and let your pets loot, or is it just better to go out and keep on pushing for trash? Well, the answer to that is kind of obvious, at least in my eyes. And it's obvious because you kind of set up your value at that point. Because if your value from the spot is, well, I want the pets to loot so that I can essentially never miss this particular piece of loot or something like that, I'm farming a treasure piece, this and that, whatever, you kind of do wish to loot as much as you can without skipping any loots. But for the purpose of grind videos, you know, kind of making, I would say, making a statement that the class is capable of doing this, that the class is capable of doing that, I really think that oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I really think that not allowing your pets to loot 24/7 is the way to go. So obviously a lot of this wasn't possible before the pets buff, which was, I think, last year, somewhere along last year. And that pet buff was fantastic. People were so happy with it, but still, we are farming faster than what we could loot, so that issue is still present. It's just it's not as present. Alright, we got our first event here. While we're looting the event, the best thing to do is kind of... doing the event, the best thing really is to clear as much from the Aheaves, the regular Aheaves, as possible while the event is spawned as well. it's very, very useful to have this event and optimize it because it was buffed. So optimizing your income while the event is up and running is definitely something that you should be focusing on. Oh, I didn't have a cooldown for that. It's okay. Now, you can't allow yourself to go too far ahead. Like, you can't stray away, otherwise the event really stops. In general, just a couple of tips for the Mystic players out here that really want to explore this spot the same way as I'm doing. During the event, I found the best way to handle mobs is by rapid stream with tidal burst spam. You don't really need anything else besides that to clear the mobs. I have some very interesting add-ons. I'll kind of put, after I'm done editing this, I will be putting what add-ons did I use, so you guys can stay. Or maybe I can do it into the description so I save myself some time. We'll see how that goes. Oh, really? What happened here? Alright, well, that definitely slowed us down a bit, but it's okay. But outside of that, guys, the Awakening Mystic buffs, it seems like they're impacting more mid-game than late-game. So far, it seems like Awakening Mystic has been overperforming in a way. I mean, she's not Succession Mago, right? But I would say that she definitely is more desirable now than ever. And obviously, when you buff a class and you give it an average 20% damage when she was lacking about 15 or so. Hey, we got another ominous energy. Let's just clear this and we're gonna go back do it. Here it is. Make sure we taunt stuff with our wolf friends. Not wolf friends. What was it? Crouching wolf. Yeah. Get this out of the way. Make sure we pull more of the guys on there. We're getting very lucky. We're literally about 5 minutes in. This is our second event. Let's just do this as well. And we got enough Uwaru at the same time. I will have to go pick him up because I do not like wasting a Feuds, guys. The Fuarus are kind of important. I will be getting him while I'm waiting for the Dark Knight to spawn, so I think it's a kind of good way to optimize the time used. Onto my preparation hour, I didn't really do a lot of serious grinding. I wasn't aware that I will be more than ever overclearing this spot. I never thought it would be possible to overclear this spot. I thought they just had everything. Alright. One shot that one. This is how you're supposed to do it. And I still have my 100%, so I'll just keep on going. I guess it's very worth mentioning this person that actually inspired me to come around here and really push more than ever for the viability of Mystic on the spot. That goes by the user. That person goes by the username of Dracane. She is a sage, and I've been closely watching her videos. She's just flat out one of these grinders that apparently just pushes. There's, you know, one of these people. I think the best way to call them is overly competitive. Elixirs 24/7. Make sure that you're always on your A game. Never waste even a single bit of time. I think that's a fair assessment. And that Sage player, in general, inspired me to come around and see what would happen with Awakening Mystic and the buffs that she recently received. Because I haven't been here since the buffs came through, because it's a low spot, you know. You don't want to be here. In general, I didn't even come here on my Awakening Mago video. I didn't think that it would be necessary to come around here with Awakening Mago. And probably it isn't. But in general, guys, I've noticed one thing. Perhaps you guys are aware of, there's this concept, it's called geometric growth in MMOs. Or in other words, geometric growth is a thing that occurs, and it's synonymous with scaling. So geometric growth is essentially what causes classes disparity between certain APs. So you would have, for an example, an Awakening Mystic not be that good in the mid game, just as an example compared to some other classes. And all of a sudden she would go into the late game and she would become great. And I think one of the best examples for this is actually Succession Striker. Succession Striker is literally absolute unconditional garbage into the early and mid game. He has no value. In fact, you're better off playing a meme class, something that is absolutely worthless compared to playing Awakening Striker. And rightfully so, the class is not made to stomp early game. So it's super important to kind of note that not everybody will be performing the way I perform in this spot. If you're fresh out of season expecting to do 12k, 13k, you can probably do it, but you will not be by any stretch of the imagination going like 18k similar to what I am aiming for. You just don't have the AP. I'm sitting here with Frenzy, I'm sitting here with Perfumes. Not that you can't get these as well, but more like these are not worth for you to get. So this is kind of an over-geared conversation here. And we have another Ominous Energy. Good stuff. The more the better. The more the better of these. So this is our third one so far. If it continues going on like this, then it's insane. By the way, speaking of the buffs to the Ominous Energy, these occurred like a few months ago. Essentially, they tried to emphasize onto the events which are occurring onto the spots because people were actively ignoring them. And really, some people were even ignoring this in particular, this Ominous Energy, even though the majority of the loot that you're gonna get is from here. But it's kind of increased Okrads, increased, what was it called? Spectre's Energy. And you would see people kind of ignored these events, especially on Sonials, the siege towers on Sonials. Nobody would care to get them in. People were kind of grind over them, see when they proc by any accident. And speaking of Spectre Energy, there it is. So this event is so much more important compared to anything that you can grind onto the trash spot. Onto the grind spot. So usually the mobs drop 2 with the 100% scroll, with a level 2 scroll. But these drop 6, like 4, 6, depending on big mob and small mob, etc. So, in essence, it would be very, very important for you guys to let this thing just let the entire event run through. Don't skip the event because the event is pretty much the overwhelming majority of the trash. Or I wouldn't say the overwhelming majority of the trash, it's like the event defines how much your trash will be at the end more than ever, and it's super important to finish the event. Also, since I don't have a script here, usually I do write these scripts, it takes me quite a few hours, so I also skipped the wolf guy. I have 5% to be stiffened, so it's fine. I would say that an event is kind of worth maybe 500, 600 trash. It's quite astronomical if you think about it. An event being so big on trash numbers. It's kind of, I would say, not necessarily unfair, but it's the fact that it's definitive for your outcome of the hour is kind of leans towards the mercy of the RNG. Your performance, that is. This is why people don't like Hex Sanctuary. This is why people do not really enjoy anything Calphia and Elvia like. And this is why, of course, Serendi Elvia got reworked back in the day. Because you could have an hour on Orcs with all the weapons, all the time. And you could make like 2-3 billion. There was this one guy back in the day, he had an hour where he really just had a weapon for the entirety of the thing, and I'm pretty sure that people will be kind of weirded out. Because he essentially grinds 1 hour as if it was 3, 4, 5, depending on who and what class is there. But as I was saying, since I don't have a... I don't have a script, you guys might hear me a little bit different. Not as monotone as I usually am onto these videos. And also, I'm grinding at the same time, so it's kind of like streaming, but not necessarily. I would actually kind of say that it's like streaming. And my thing is about to break. What the hell? I'm not aiming for any accessories here, really. It's whatever drops, drops. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, the less drops, the more I can grind because of the animation. I am taking this a little bit of a step further. No need to do that if you were on my spot. It's more like, since I'm trying to prove a point with the trash an hour, it's what causes this hyper competitive train of thought. I shouldn't have went for these guys at all. One of the things which I'm not really comfortable with still, it's whenever you don't have to keep the mobs dead all the time, when you don't have to go around and kill a mob that you left. This is one of the things. These are prone to happen. I do have 5%. There is no other crystal that I can change for this. These are prone to happen. So, judging by this hour so far, based on what we've got, if we continue being this lucky, then perhaps we will be able to reach 17k easy peasy. Seeing just how many minutes we have left. In fact, so far 15 minutes, 4.4k means about 18k, but of course let's be real. We do depend on the mercy of the spot to make a good hour. So, as I said earlier, I'm doing my best to skip all the wolves because Mystic just does not have the AoE potential to handle the wolves all the time. The only time I kill wolves is if they're really... it's almost like collateral damage, if that makes some sense. I never actively hunt the wolves down. And the bears and stuff, so... for me personally, it's the #1 priority, obviously the event, should that spawn. And the next thing would be all the mobs. Afterwards, make sure that we do the pack by pack clearing and make sure that the pets are not keeping up with me. If the pets are keeping up with me, this means that I'm kind of having an issue. So as you can see, there is just this one piece of loot there that is staying. This is what you kind of want to do. I had since I did kind of take a pause onto my Breaking Mystic series. I did Quint Hill yesterday. I'm very proud of the Quint Hill video. The Quint Hill video is pretty much probably the best episode because I didn't see anybody submit that types of performance in terms of Mystic on Quint Hill with Agris. Obviously there are better Mystics than me out there that are farming a lot more competitively than I am. And seeing them break that would be probably happening very soon. But with that said, we'll see what the future holds. I really like when people go above and beyond my results, because this kind of means that I'm not defining the class's performance, and also it leaves room for me to grow as well. I know I'm being called nowadays the biggest mystic on the platform, the most famous mystic on the platform, whatnot. And I don't take that lightly. I take that with a lot of responsibility, and it's what made me start this Breaking Mystic series. And as I always, in all of these videos that I release, I always say, if you guys want to beat this, please by all means do. Let's beat it so that we can grow as a community, because you can't have one person decide the viability of the class. So I want to see people constantly beat me, because that makes me push as well. Having a competitive scene is essentially what I'm aiming at. And I don't mean to upset anybody with what I'm saying in terms of me being the biggest mystic into the scene. It's not what I'm saying, and even if it's true or not true, it doesn't matter. The fact that somebody thinks of me like that, it really puts a smile on my face, because it's what I do for a living, you know? And it's recognition. So I'm not trying to belittle anybody's other achievements. So shout out to Ikura, shout out to C_Travis_D, shout out to Dracona, Zatanna. There's also this other mystic guy who I'm just constantly forgetting his name. EU guy, Awakening Mystic, kinda hard cap, plays in Monopoly quality. I know you guys, I know you guys are out there. Don't think that I'm just sitting here living in a bubble of my own fart, right? I'm not sniffing myself up all day. It's more or less trying to make a point that recognition goes a long way with me. And yeah. It's what I've wanted to do for a long while, guys. This job that I have here, this mystic mystic channel. It really is something new for me. Never really had the support. As I've spoken about this all the time back in the day when I was in World of Warcraft. At no given point in my content creation was I ever welcomed with such a wide arms open way. Not to mention that since I am doing this full time, my family knows about it. They're not very supportive of it either. So the fact that you guys are out here and supporting me to do what I love, to teach this class called Mystic on this game called Black Desert Online, and to be recognized as what I'm being recognized as, well, it brought me to tears some time ago. Because I never thought I'd make it so far, you know? It's something that was a struggle for me for a long while to make it through. And I'm a big fan of this one word. It's called aim. I'll be talking about this sometime. Let me just repair myself. The maids will be enough to suffice for everything, so. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm a big fan of this word called aim. This word aim, guys, it gives you purpose because there is a target. And some time ago, I think a few days ago actually, Fake Uniform, I'm sure you guys know, heard of him. He's kind of one of the big guys onto the platform. He put out a tweet on Twitter, and he said something along the lines of, creators, what type of tips would you give to anybody starting this? And my reply was literally this, and I said something along the ways of, do not put content out just for the sakes of putting content out. You need to put purpose behind everything that you do, and ask yourself, what is that purpose? And if you don't have to convince yourself there is one, then you will never fail. So, the purpose of the channel, the way I started this Verdict channel, it was to teach Mystic. And You know, once you put a back drive to something, I just find that being almost the instrument to success. At least I believe it is. So yeah, guys, it's been great so far. Not to mention the Creator Code event. I never thought in my wildest dreams that you guys would just copy-paste that code and put it while purchasing your pearls. You had no idea. When I got the first update onto what did we do so far, I literally, hands on my head, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And it made me feel fantastic because it just means that people are interested in supporting the channel, you know? So sorry for being melodramatic on this grind hour. Just that it's a way for us to connect in a more personal way that is not on stream. We have passed the 20-minute. So far we're moving extremely fast. I'm very impressed with our outcome. And I mean, very impressed with the outcome so far of just the spot in general, not necessarily the trash. It's just I'm happy to see how fast we're killing these things. One thing that I really don't like about uncapped spots is that they really do not benefit the small player. Because after all, probably less than 1% of the mystics out there will be able to farm as much as I'm farming. Simply because I have the gear for it, so. But the idea is to learn. The idea here is to full-blown learn, evolve, elevate Mystic to new heights. Because she is one of the most unrepresented classes in the game. She is the mistake after all. And somebody told me just a few days ago, I ran a poll onto the channel, and somebody told me something that I was not prepared to hear. Essentially, they said that Pearl Abyss have admitted that Mystic was indeed started as a joke that just came to fruition, and now that they have to deal with it. And that really upset me, because if that were true, then we're dealing here with something that does not want to care about our class. That is PA, and the passion of the player behind it. And I ran a poll afterwards saying that I'm pretty much convinced that Pearl Abyss absolutely hate Mystic and they just have to deal with her. And there's nothing else to it. I didn't like... I really thought that, you know, it would be a one-sided poll, but it turned out to be quite even. Almost 1,000 people contributed towards that vote. People saying that, no, they don't hate Mystic, it just that I'm approaching this in a wrong way. Striker needs changes because he is lacking in some departments. Just because Mystic isn't changed does not necessarily mean that Pearl Abyss are hating the class. Once I got that out of my head, I kinda started experiencing the game a little bit different. Because think about it, if you lead that argument from a path of resentment towards another class, that is me being absolutely resentful of Striker, just because Striker has always been the poster boy of the game, there's absolutely no question about it. Striker is the most picked class in the entire game. He is the most created class, at least. It used to be Dark Knight, now it's Striker. There are more strikers in the game than anything else. Striker is by definition the easiest class in the game to learn on Awakening, and what he gets out of that, you know, it's just a very noob friendly class, and then Succession starts becoming a thing. But nonetheless, what I was trying to say here is that I don't hold any grudges to Striker players, but whenever a Striker player comes around and just starts telling Mystics that they should reroll to Striker, that's where I have an issue. Because I really just want to see a better comradeship? Comradeship? Is that even a thing? I really just want to see Strikers, man, kind of appreciate Mystic, because if Strikers start appreciating Mystic, then we have a higher chance of Pearl Abyss saying, hey, seems like we have something going on here. But so far it seems to be Strikers just massively disrespect Mystics. PvP, PvE, doesn't matter. There's only one time where Mystic is better than Striker right now. Just one time. And that's arguably in PvP, Succession. Striker on Suck is still quite, I would say quite ahead, it's just that he fills a better purpose than Awakening Mystic. Awakening Mystic is an early game stomper type of a class. As you guys can see, I'm obliterating things with less than a kind of, with an ability or two, it just everything dies. And yeah, I just want to see when Pearl Abyss decide to touch on Striker, to also touch on Mystic as well. Because it's very unfair to provide something to one of the counterparts and leave the other wanting. It's gonna be a little bit funny. You know, there's this study of chimps. It's actually quite accurate for the purpose of the story. There is a study of chimps, guys. Whenever you have two chimps in, let's say they're in enclosure or whatever, and you give one thing to one of the chimps and you give another thing to the other chimp, they start wondering, was what the other got better than what they could have got? And in general, it starts a feud between both chimps. It's a great analogy. I never thought about this up until now. It's a feud, guys. It's a feud because Daddy Pearl Abyss doesn't treat us equally, and nobody knows who is treated different. Once that happens, you know, you just never know. You just never know if you're mistreated or not. You just see the other person getting something. It doesn't matter if they need it or not. It's the fact that they are getting something and you yourself aren't. Wow. Man. We're breaking the fourth wall here, guys. We're breaking the barriers of reality. You know what would be cool? I really want to see an Ominous Energy right now. An event. But yeah, just back onto the topic, this is insane to think about. If you really think about it, the fact that we behave like chimps, being mistreated, not necessarily being mistreated, but rather... Oh, this is so worthy of a video. Oh, this is so worthy of a video. When you provide a change to a counterpart and leave the other wanting, it doesn't matter whether or not that's for the health of both counterparts, it leaves the other wanting. Wow. That's insane. Absolutely insane. This could be literally why Mystic players are constantly complaining about Striker. It is just because we see changes done to the counterpart, and we're not sure whether or not they really need them. Oh, you can that F4. I'm not going there. We're not sure if they need them, we just see changes towards them, and we envy the fact because we want our classes changed a bit too, because we know what our issues are. We want to see those issues addressed. We kind of want to make sure that everything that we get is fair for both sides, and it doesn't matter whether or not the class getting the changes needs it, as long as they're getting the change. And we aren't, and yeah, oh wow, this is... I'm sorry, I'm still mind blown by what I just said. It's like a great discovery in player behavior. It's a great discovery in player behavior. This is something that Pearl Abyss should really take to heart. Should they ever... Hey, speaking of a dark energy. Ominous energy, my bad. There it is. Let's just get both of these guys here. In the meanwhile... I'm going to probably take a snippet out of this. Or perhaps just make a different video. This is insane. This is why Mystics are complaining about Striker all the time. It's because Striker is getting all the changes. And we just want to see some happen for us too. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. And so just to say this once more, from now on I do not wish to see any Striker changes without Mystic changes. I know it's unfair, but at least we should get addressed as well. And Pearl Abyss should be working onto Striker and Mystic changes simultaneously to please both counterparts, because we are so alike, yet so different. Huh. Wow. Tell me how do you feel about this statement in the comments, guys. I really want to know if I'm on the right track with this. I'm skipping the F4 hours team. I wonder what type of AP should I be having to full-blown clear these Ahibs without the need of another ability. I know it happens in back attacks. I wonder if I... Perhaps with elixirs. Yeah, I think with elixirs it will occur more often. So what, should I be popping elixirs for this one? Oh no. Guys, I'm falling into the trap. I'm falling into the trap of elixirs. It's the best way to grind, so therefore it's the only way to grind. The delusional elitism. The delusional elitism. It plagues every game. I was called a delusional elitist for such a long while. Back in my WoW days. In my World of Warcraft days team, I was one of the best paladins in the world at a certain point, and I believed at that time that going as hard as possible, as much as possible, it's just all the time, if possible, was the only way for me to play. And I kind of lost friends because of this, just how over-competitive aspect of me. I was also very toxic because of it, because turns out when you have a overly competitive state of mind, you can push away people with your behavior, such as, no matter if you're trying it for the good or not, it's like, yeah, it's just not good, man, you suck. Saying it like this, so approach is also important. We are about to approach 5k trash. We're 2 minutes short. 2 minutes short of the second 20-minute mark. If all goes according to plan, if we get a little bit lucky, because right now we do have to get a little bit lucky, we may or may not scratch 17k. We will see, guys. We will see. And we're getting these patterns, man. Also, I would really like to see an ominous ring. I know I said earlier we don't want any, but hey. We kinda do. Oh, that was such a bad 100. Perhaps I should do this with Awakening Mystic as well. What am I talking about? With Succession Mystic, my bad. I think it might be interesting to see how much a DPS approach to a spot where you kind of want to DPS all the time will prove a point, I would say. Alright guys, 5k, so we're gonna make arguably 5k for the next 20 minutes. So far, I think we're at 11k, so this might not scratch 18 unless we get lucky with, obviously, the events. If we get one or two more, perhaps we will. I just want to see 17k. I know I'm not a range class. It's impossible for me to pull as much as a range class here. I don't think it's really... I don't even think it's remotely close to reality for a Mystic to pull 20k here. I think it's just simply impossible. Perhaps if I could get elixirs and I was 320-ish AP with a house buff and stuff, perhaps, but then that just kind of... At least in my opinion. It's a little bit of an overkill. At a certain point, you're not going to do much from the spot. Hey, could run life. At a certain point, just AP will not give that much of performance. And then... the only thing that you could do, I'm willing to argue, is... just... elixir it. One of the things which I have noticed here is I'm kind of leaving a few mobs behind. It is on purpose. I'm doing this knowingly. I'm not just leaving them behind. It's more of a... I know that they will follow and I can pull the next mob, because these mobs, one of the cool things about them is that they really are quite mobile. They really are quite mobile, and that allows us to exploit. There's just one thing that I really don't like, and that is that I cannot kill all the wolves all the time. Hey, Feuds. I was hoping for something else. Let's see where he is. Yeah, nah, I'm not gonna kill him. Feuds is unfortunately just a waste of time. Onto these Camosil spots. Or deleted spots. I mean, not for Crypt and Olens, but... I have never had a single thing from a Feuds here. And trust me, I have quite a little bit of time here. I have quite a bit of time here. Okay, let's kill these guys very fast, but the loot... We are so far at 12k. If we get another 6k, then wow, this might actually be good. Fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. I'm now excited when I saw this. We'll probably end up getting another 5, hopefully. Hopefully. Oh, I'm pushing right now. I'm completely pushing, just going out of my mind. Going completely out of my mind. I've been thinking of tagging Dark Knight. I've been watching this YouTuber by the name of Lua Video. He is he's Dark Knight. I think he's from EU, I'm not entirely sure, and seeing his performance on a couple of spots really kind of makes me go like, ooh. There's only one issue with that, guys. I'm an evasion player into the PvC. Because also there is a thing known as PvP in this game, so I will at no given point be sacrificing my gear. At no given point sacrificing my evasion gear for DR. There's just no reason. I have C19 Kutum. I have so many items on me that are purposely there to make evasion viable, and the fact that it's kinda is no longer working in PvE, especially with Dekia being a thing nowadays. Not sure if you know, but Ash Forest mobs ignore all evasion. Completely all of it. I did not get a single miss on myself. Perhaps it's because they have 1 or 2 hits. It can be seen as a little bit of a luck of the draw because the mobs have only 1 hit. So unless you have 100% evasion, it's not going to really be that reliable. So perhaps with 2 hits, it's going to be slightly more noticeable. They did change the damage. So now the mobs are dealing 2 hits, but they have the same damage. At least it's kind of like this on Korea. I did get the Mystic Error, if you guys know what a Mystic Error is. When you get please try again in the moment and you're just sitting there waiting for a second or two for your class to kind of recover from that blow. This is one of the worst things that has occurred for a class, is to... Once you start farming too fast with Mystic, this is something that people perhaps do not know. Once you start farming too fast with Mystic, there is this thing known as the Mystic Barrier. It is when you have too much attack speed, and for whatever reason the game says, hey man, you're going too fast, slow down a bit. So essentially you are sending far too much information to the server. This happened after the reboot. Nobody knows why it happened after the reboot, but it did. I mean, why in particular after the reboot? They just touched something within the code of the Mystics, and afterwards we were kind of screwed. We were really kind of screwed. These errors, please try again in a moment, please try again in a moment. It's one of the most disheartening thing that can occur for the class. Especially, it has happened to me during important times in fighting in PvP. It has happened to me during important times in PvP. It's one of the reasons for which I did not go Crypto Resting Thoughts. For whatever reason, it happens all the time there for me, and when you stop hitting in Crypto Resting Thoughts, if you have like 11 mobs on you, well, you're gonna pay the price. You are going to pay the price for that. You're gonna die, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to succumb to the crypt. Man, the first time I went crypt, guys, I won't even lie to you, I was not prepared for this. Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. Thankfully, I didn't lose a crystal, so I went there solo with just beast rod and stuff, just to give it a go. I was 390-ish DP. Around 2% below the top bracket, so that does take its toll. But nonetheless, I was not prepared for mobs that cannot be farmed without elixirs with evasion. And the first time that I went there was post the evasion shredding buffs that the mobs got. Which I think it was weird. The only time where evasion was arguably the best was at Crypt and Ash. And then they, instead of making evasion still viable, but just not flat out the best, BA kind of removed it from Crypt of Resting Thought grinding. It's insane. In fact, if you go into Crypt with DR Mystic, you're gonna feel like an absolute god. Meanwhile, if I ever want to grind Crypt for whatever reason, whatever bewitched me to grind Crypt, well, it's not ideal, I'll tell you that. Oh no. Didn't I dash twice? I should have. I think I dashed twice there. I should have been in Awakening. Let's get this. Let's get this. I'm wondering also whether or not I should be grinding specific packs of mobs. Just because they're not well piled up, or they just are very few in numbers, whatever. For example, this one that I was over here right next to the stair. And also this here, perhaps. I can just move towards these mobs and they're going to just chase me. At least the relevant portion of them will. I think that's a better choice. I should have done this before I started. You see, it's one of these things that you kind of discover midway. I love the burst capacity of Awakening Mystic. It is borderline insane. It really can be insane. Mystic, like ever since that new combo landed with 3 shards Wave Orb, it is just insane. It is insane what you can do with the class. I don't think there is a class which more melee bursts right now than Mystic. I mean, from the melees, I may be wrong. Perhaps Awakening Hash can do it. Perhaps, we're talking melee, like exclusive melee damage, right? Don't want to get any Maigus right now. Oh, dude! Michael King. Man, the amount of times I had to tell people that Maigo is not the burstiest AoE class in the game, just that she has sustain AoE, something that barely any class has compared to Maigo. If I could get $1 every time I said that. And we got hit with, please try again later. It's like you're trying to call people to fix your internet. Everybody and their mama is currently busy. Please try again later. Oh my god, the CCs. Rest in peace, 18k trash. Let's see, what type of trash did we make so far? Alright, so we were at 12,500. So we're about to be at 15k. I don't think we will be reaching 17. We were quite unlucky with the rest of the events. Unless we get an event until the end, I don't think it's possible. Just make sure... I will make sure to kind of tidy up my rotation. Oh, these guys. I'm just gonna like come around here. I'm not even going to bother with the other dudes. Literally doing this so I get as much trash as I possibly can. In the meanwhile, so it's 3k. We're at 15, which is good. I would really like to get, guys. I would really like to get 17 now. I'm doing my best here, team. You know how what would be extremely cool? To set up these Marnie tournaments. Oh my god, that would be so cool. Could you imagine like having the most geared players with each class? Really knowledgeable guys and girls go toe-to-toe into this tournament where they get full buffed. We're talking full, completely buffed. Nothing short of giga buffed. Into the Marnie realm, and we see how they do. Oh, that would be so cool. The Marnie tournament. I should pattern it. I'm really cool with ideas. It's just... And perhaps we can prove which class is the best grinder. But the question is, how do you look at it? Like, unless they share their screen, unless it's completely pre-recorded or something, like how do you monitor it? That's gonna be an issue. Just simply monitoring it. I really need an event, guys. One event. We are so far at 15k right now, which is good. Oh no. Dude, I just hate the CCs here. My class is so unprotected, it's insane. They should probably buff Thornwood experience, like have a lot of mobs here. Maybe it's good up until, what, level 64 or something? Nah, I don't think so, though. Alright guys, we're at 16. Why am I killing this guy? I shouldn't be killing this guy. These guys got too spread all of a sudden. We are way past 16, guys. I need 17 is what I need. I have 2 minutes. 2 hours, no ominous as well, man. Wow. Only 1 specters, no acrods, nothing. It's just... Did we miss it into the... I think we can do it, guys. Pretty sure we can do it. Pretty sure we can do it. Have 1 minute. Let's stop our gauge during the 100%. Guys, hey, Spectre's energy, cool. Please note that I will be grinding up until my buffs expire. So this doesn't mean my tent. No, once my gauge is completely out. Sorry, not my gauge, my come on, guys. My buffs, my drought. I think the 100% is good here. Come on, we got half a minute. All I care about is literally 17k. Ten seconds. Come on, let's try and get these guys up here. Good. And allow me to use my 100% onto the next one. And this is it. Alright. This is officially it. Alright, so let's cut this out. And we got... Oh, we just made it. Oh, we literally just got it. That's cool. Oh, 17k, guys. That's great. Yeah, so it's 17,118. 17,118. Yep, this is great. This is super, super cool. Let me just get really quick to Audilita with the map so we can... Oh, yeah, there is a cast time to this. This is great. I don't think I will be able to do much more than this with Mystic. I am hitting engine caps with the class. It's insane. This is as much as you can probably squeeze. A lot of that is, as I said... A lot of that is just not having the cooldowns for it, because she does depend on Sea Burial. She does depend on... And, yep, 17,113 Awakening Mystic. Thornwood Forest. That's actually quite impressive. I think this is really, really impressive. In terms of Capras, 113 Capras, 94 Ancient Spirit Dust. In other words, this here is about 700 better than my previous hour. Let me just check what my previous hour was while we're at it, just so we have some... my previous hour on Thornwood Forest, let me just check that out, was... Oh no, it was actually 15,898. What am I talking about? This is literally 1,000 even more above. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is an episode of Breaking Mystic, and yeah, we kind of covered Thornwood Forest. So far, I like it. Probably people can get up to 18. Not me though. Not with this setup. See you soon, guys.